Shalom. Call halal Yahweh by Shem Shai by Shem Wakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners. And to the Akwath that are listening and learning, to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth. Back in the book of titled White Fragility, which is written by Dr. Robin DiAngelo and forwarded by Michael Eric Dyson. And I'm reading this after watching a couple videos and current events and how the media is being used as a weapon, along as science being used as a weapon against you Israelites. Well, you know what? I'm just gonna go right into the book. I'm on page 2 in the introduction, and I'm starting the second paragraph, and it reads: these responses work to reinstate white equilibrium as they repel the challenge, return our racial comfort, and maintain our dominance within the racial hierarchy. And anytime that you point out their crimes, that you proceed with evidences that prove other things that they've done wrong, that's the response that you get from them. Well, that was the past. Well, what they don't like to acknowledge is that your lies and your murder and your rape and your policy of the past set up your today. It puts you in a position of dominance. You didn't earn a position of dominance, all right? It was, the things that you did and that you continually do, even the writing of your laws, keep you in this position. You just refuse to acknowledge that, fact. It says, I conceptualize this process as white fragility. Though white fragility is triggered by discomfort and anxiety, it is born of superiority and entitlement. All right. And the thing is that Edomites do have this sense of entitlement, including the ones that say that they don't. They have it. All right. It says, white fragility is not a weakness per se. In fact, it is a powerful means of white racial control and protection of white advantage. All right. So you know what? Let's grab a scripture. All right. Because it does not matter how much proof, how much evidence that you bring out to prove the points of hatred, the points of policy, of racism, of institutions that were built upon racism. And the, what's the word that I'm looking for? The institutionalized racism within the workplace, within the school place, within the banking systems, within every aspect of life that allows you to get advantage here in America has benefited so-called white people. This is Zechariah 11:5, and it reads, who possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. They that sell them say, blessed be Yahweh, for I am rich. And their own shepherds pity them not. And I'm thinking about that, like now with this Maxine Waters that they want to force on everyone, and how the media is running this campaign that now all of a sudden a disease that supposedly started in China, a study was done in Mississippi barely even a month ago, how more people in Mississippi, more white people died than so-called black. But yet the face of this moved to the Israelites, and it went from Hispanics and natives to Negroes. All right. And now the Negro is the number one face of it. All right. For a while, for months and months, if I would say like maybe the last 4 or 5 months, the number one face of it had been the so-called Hispanic and native. Now it's switched over to Judah, and we knew that was coming. All right. Point being is that the people that they're pointing out to be the problem with this whole pandemic is Israelites. People that they refer to as black, people that they refer to as Hispanic, and people that they refer to as native. All right. Once again, with this black radio, there is no such thing as black people. That is a complete racist and that is complete hateful and racist terminology that they use as a buzzword. For example, now you have another incident where they found a man with a beard who can't be connected to any camp whatsoever. All right. No works on the highways and byways and none of that. But yet they're saying that he attacked some Edomite with a machete. And they're calling it a hate crime. And they're calling him a black Hebrew Israelite when no human being on the planet is this color. Not one. And no one is so-called white. Not one. You got brown people and you have red people in different shades thereof. Point blank period. That is it. All right. But continuing on in this book. It says, in the early days of my work, what was termed a diversity trainer, I was taken aback by how angry and defensive so many white people became at the suggestion that they were connected to racism in any way. The very idea that they would be required to attend a workshop on racism outraged them. They entered into the room angry and made the feeling clear to us throughout the day as they slammed their notebooks down on the table, refused to participate in exercises, and argued against any and all points. You know what? They just hate it when a light is shined on their wickedness, man. They're like roaches in the dark, man. What do you do when you turn, or what do bugs do when the light comes on? They scatter. All right. This is Luke 8:17. And it reads, for nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest. For anything hid that shall not, neither is anything hid that shall not be made known and come abroad. And see, that's just it. Esau's power has been in secrecy. The secrecy of no one knowing who he is, and the secrecy of him being able to hide behind his lies. All right. This is Obadiah 1:6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? And see, he wants his hidden things to remain hidden. Last thing he needs is some woman exposing, or anyone for that matter, especially an Israelite man, exposing his wrongs and his wickedness, his plans. All right. And so he counters that with what? He labels you a quack, or he'll attach black to you. And matter of fact, let's just get it once again, the definition of black. It's a trigger word. So once you add black to anything, you've now just all right. The Chambers Dictionary etymology suggests that the name indicated edged with black. The OED says black in the term is from negative sense of the word. It means disgrace or censor. There it is. So by putting the word black before something, according to the Chambers Dictionary of Etymology, when you put, matter of fact, let me screenshot that so I don't forget it. So by putting the word black before anything, you automatically make it negative. I'll read it again. The Chambers Dictionary of Etymology suggests that the name indicated edged with black. The OED says the black in the term is from the negative sense of the word and means disgrace or censor. All right. And then when you look the word up, you know, it tells you it's dark, it's mean, it's wicked, it's bad. You know, everything, like it said, in the negative sense. So you have something called black people. Negative, mean, bad people. And trying to get you stupid, black, you brown people who refer to yourselves as black to understand that black is not beautiful. All right. It's not. black is very bad. All right, which is why they refuse it. Having dark flesh doesn't mean you're bad. Putting black before it, that's what it's done to this society, and that's what it means. But he's black or she's black. It dehumanizes you. It takes away your it dehumanizes you, and basically it says, well, whatever bad happens to you, you more than likely deserve it anyway. Okay? It says, I couldn't understand their resentment or disinterest in learning more about such a complex dynamic of racism. All right. And you know, that makes me think about, hey, look, vampires don't like the light, man. All right. You know, one of the most spiritual collection of movies ever written was the Underworld series, if you've never seen them. And the Lycans were representation of Jacob, and the vampires were representation of the Edomites. All right, that was Jacob and Esau, and the vampires were very hateful, very racist, very controlling. And the truth of the matter is, they were the weaker of the two. The Lycans were more powerful. All right, the Lycans were dark. They were black, and they were dirty, and they were nasty, and they were inferior according to the vampires. But yet they used them for their labor and used them for their protection. The same way you've been used to, you were used to build this country and all the power structures in it, from its places of institution of higher learning to its banking system to its insurance companies. All the so-called black people were one of the number one resources that used to get this power that they now have. Yet they don't want to acknowledge them. Right? You use these people to build this country on stolen land, stolen from their brothers. And in some cases use their brothers as slaves as well. All right? But yet don't want that light shined on it. Okay? And the crazy thing is that movie also showed you, you know, what was really going on during the Dark Ages, and one of the most powerful and one of the leaders of those Lycans was a great big old so-called black man. And it turns out that actor who played that second in command Lycan under Lucian, turns out he was the writer of the entire series and the backbone of it. You see, nothing can be done great without Jacob, man. Look what happened when Jacob started playing basketball and baseball and football. Exactly. All right, let's continue reading. It says, I'll start it again right here at this paragraph. I couldn't understand their resentment or disinterest in learning about such a complex social dynamic as racism. These reactions were especially perplexing when there were few or no people of color in their workplace, and they had opportunity to learn from my co-facilitators of color. I assumed that these circumstances, an educational workshop on racism would be appreciated. After all, didn't the lack of diversity indicate the problem, or at least suggest that some perspectives were missing, or the participants might be undereducated about race because of the scant cross-racism interactions. All right, well, what it comes down to is that there's just a hatred, a natural hatred of Esau for Jacob. And as a matter of fact, let's get a couple scriptures and we'll just close this out until the next episode in this series. But this is Genesis 3 and 15. And it reads, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, all right, and between thy seed and her seed. Okay, so this woman is representation of Jacob, because we're the Lord's bride. All right, it says, in between thy seed and her seed, and it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his feet. So it's telling you of the upcoming racial conflict ongoing between Jacob and Esau. This is a war that has never ended. All right. And quite frankly, Esau has been, his temporary blessing is coming to an end. All right. Because even in our low state, this still stands. This is Deuteronomy 7:6. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power. All right. And Yahweh thy power have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. We are better than everyone. And just looking, and that's just what it is. All right. To the point so much is where they have to try and keep these things in place that keeps the tribes divided. But when you look at the tribes that enter into their sports world, which has been their number one money maker, all right, or one of their number one money makers, that money, most of the money that has been made in those super riches that has been gotten, well, was because of Jacob. All right. That's where you get your Ronaldo Cristianis and your Shaquille O'Neals, your Michael Jordans, your Mike Tysons, you know, your Muhammad Ali's, and your Cesar Chavez, your Oscar De La Hoyas, your Felix Trinidads. You know, Jacob made these things great. All right. And Esau is just full of hate. And he's going to continue to use his media to shame and defame you until the Lord comes and takes him down, which is soon. All right. He's already been broken by the truth of his Bible. That's another thing. He wants to outlaw the Bible completely. All right. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakak Badash, Wa Abba Babah. Shalom.